Let us now demystify sustainability. And let me simplify this by answering three questions. What is it? How is it done? And what are the intended impacts? So let's start with what it is. Sustainability is nothing but, first, identifying your risks and opportunities when it comes to environment, social, and governance factors. Now, when you are identifying risk, you are also looking for opportunities, because risks bring opportunities. So your first step is identifying of the risk of opportunities related to environment, social, and governance factors for your business. The next what is, once you have identified this, you have a plan to deal with it. How to mitigate the risk and exploit the opportunity. And third is act on the plan. So what is ESG or sustainability? Identifying the risk and opportunities related to environment, social, and governance, having a plan and acting on the plan. Very, very simplistically put. Now, how are you going to do that? So you do that by selecting a framework. Now, which framework would you want to select? You can select GRI, the Global Reporting Initiative. You could create SASB or SASB. You could select, let's say, Net Zero. You could select TCFD or the BRSR framework. Each of these frameworks are good. Each of these frameworks are logical, structured. The only difference is that they have different focus areas. So if your company is looking more into impact, into social, then maybe you want to consider GRI. But if your company is more reporting focused, then maybe you want to consider SASB or even TCFD. If your company is more focused on achieving of net zero, the net zero standards will appeal more. So depending upon what you need, you can select a framework. But one word of caution. When you select a framework, you must consistently maintain that. You should not be changing it every year, because if you do that, you cannot compare the progress made. Hence, never change it very frequently. Once in 5 years, once in 10 years is a good idea to relook, but maintain the consistency. So you select a framework. In fact, you don't even have to select one particular framework, because these frameworks are guidelines. You can select part of the frameworks of different frameworks which suit you and report on that. It's absolutely fine. So select, modify, or have a merged framework of all these frameworks which suit the requirement of your organization for the industry that you operate in. And there are more than what I mentioned frameworks to choose from. Having chosen the framework, then write the practitioner scorecard, or what we call as the practitioner scorecard, which is fundamentally your KPIs. This is where you are assessing impact. This is where all your strategies are converted to numbers, which are verifiable, and progress can be clearly seen. This is what your investors and regulators are mainly interested in. Whatever practice that you have taken, what is the impact? So if an investor has to put his $100 in your company, he will go through your sustainability plan, but he'll be equally interested in the impact of implementation of that plan. So select that. And let's say you are reading a sustainability report or you're reading a newspaper and it says company XYZ has reduced its carbon footprint by 10%. Now that's huge. The first question that normally comes in the mind of the reader is, how did they achieve 10%? It is your KPIs that will tell clearly, step by step, what were the initiatives taken because of which you have reduced. The second question that normally comes to your mind will be, how much can I trust this data that the company is trying to show? That's why you need to support your KPIs with something that we call as a data framework. For each of the KPIs, what is the source of the data? Why that source has been selected? How is the data downloaded? How is the data transmitted? And more importantly, how is the data manipulated to give information? Now mind you, manipulation is not a negative sense. And let me explain this with an example. When you swipe in and swipe out of your office, and when the HR downloads that for calculating the days attended, it is in time and out time data. It doesn't tell you anything. Data is done. But when you minus one from the other, then you get information. How many hours did you work on that particular day? And when you total all of that, you get the number of hours worked for that week or for that month that you're looking at. That is information, and information is actionable. So this manipulation refers to this. So how is the data being manipulated before it is being reported on the sustainability report, which the reader is now reading? You get these two things in place, the confidence of the reader in your report will be much higher than anyone else who doesn't report it in this fashion. And credibility is the most important thing for your sustainability practice. If you lose credibility, you've lost it all. The third thing, when you are selecting the framework, writing your KPIs, and creating the data framework, that's the how. Now what is the intended impact? And here we are a little biased towards the environment, to the company. Why? Because a simple logic. Climate change started because of industry, in the Industrial Revolution. Today, it is the industries that are operating today who can actually stop climate change, if not reverse it. And that requires practice, impact. If there has to be impact, there has to be investments. And the company will invest if it sees an ROI. Our job is to connect sustainability practices good for the company, which will have impact on the P&L and the environment. Hence, the intended impact of sustainability practice must always be: 1. Business profitability. 2. Business continuity. And 3, in equal importance, the impact on environment. All your sustainability practice must have control over these 3, must impact these 3. Then you will have a successful and a sustained practice which will continuously give you the ROI on your investment.